Hello, beautifuls. I'm back with the third video in my series, what they did to our mothers, and today it is Billie Holiday. And let me just like speak speak some truth to power, and try to empower you ladies before even getting into Billie, because Billie is a sad one. You think Rosa was sad, but Billie is a sad one. Because Billie was truly a woman alone, like really. And let me just this doing this series is heavy for me, and I don't want to bring down the black women who are listening to this. Like, I don't want us to listen to this and to get so bogged down with the thought of how these ladies lived their lives and died. Lived their lives and died. And I don't want us to get so, to feel it so much in our bodies, right? I don't want us to feel it so much in our bodies that it kind of depresses us, right? For the record, y'all, I don't do no drugs. I don't do no drugs. I don't do no drugs. I don't smoke weed. I don't take edibles. And it's not to shame any black women. I'm just like trying to get us to understand, like, it's for me, I am always here. Right? I'm always here. Always here. I'm always feeling the things. I do go to therapists. I've not been diagnosed with any mental illnesses. So I'm also not on any medical, any like prescribed medicine to allow me to like stay sane. Like, I'm all the way here in the moment, feeling all the things, and not. I wish. I wish that I was not. Like, when I tell you that I have said to my therapist, like, I've tried to diagnose myself, in order to, get what I thought was, mental health. And it's not mental health. It's just to take the pressure off, right? To not be in the moment. And I guess I'm saying this now because Billie Holiday is an addict, or she was an addict, right? And you've heard in my past videos, like, the being a child of the 80s, being a baby of the 80s and a child of the 90s, like, drugs really, the war on drugs scared the shit out of me, okay? Not the war on drugs, but like how that crack epidemic came in and swept through the Blackistani community, and how it affected women. Like, I specifically remember seeing women affected by drugs. I mean, the males, I always knew that males were they're like subhuman. If we sovereign black women, Cronin black women, mothers of daughters, if we are the standard for humanity, then yeah, all the rest of the people are subs. So I watch these women, these glorious women, on drugs and in the streets, like doing things, walking around looking in ways that they shouldn't. I have shared, like, and it's like, no, for me, it's not me just trying to gas up black women. I see black women as whole, like a whole entity, like a whole thing. So when I say, I never see no, ugly black woman, I remember when Putin was in, like, she might have been in late elementary. Well, she had to be in middle school because she had a cell phone. And it was her first iPhone. And I remember her saying to me that Harriet Tubman was ugly. Y'all, you could have bought me for a fucking nickel. I felt like my own child had struck me. And if we look at Harriet Tubman, then yeah, you go along with the quote standards of beauty, and maybe she doesn't fit into it. But this is literally how I see black women. In the same way that I see Harriet Tubman, and not just the physical standard of beauty that, white male said. And I mean, we're gonna get on these bitches in a minute because I'm sick of their asses too. Because I'm sick of their asses too. Especially in this Billie Holiday this Billie Holiday video. Like, yeah. But anyhow, their standard of beauty and how someone like Harriet Tubman didn't fit into it. And how the woman is just beautiful. Like, how dare we ever part our lips in? And, you know, I punished my daughter by making her, you know, we're all vain. So her screen, you know, her screen cover, her screensaver for her phone was her. her, right? Her little fucking 11-year-old ass that ain't, you know, that, you know, I'm not minimizing 11-year-olds, but 11-year-olds are not no fucking Harriet Tubman. So how fucking dare you part your lips and say Harriet Tubman is ugly? So I made her, until this day, she brings up that I made her change her screensaver to Harriet Tubman. Like, how fucking dare you? You will not disrespect the image of black women in my home. Are you fucking crazy? It's how I felt in the moment. But what I'm trying to get us to understand is that when I say that all black women are beautiful, I'm not seeing black women as a physical, you know, the physical body that they live in. I'm seeing them as the glorious souls that they are. So even in my childhood, when I would see these women who were drug addicts, ripping and running the streets of Park Heights and Belvedere in Baltimore, Park Heights and Woodland, okay, in Baltimore, yeah, I would see these women as the glorious beings that they were, even though they were drug addicts, right? And it scared me straight. Anyhow, I'm sorry. It scared me straight because I knew that I was like them, right? I was like them in the way that I was a glorious, you know, I was a little girl, but I knew that I would grow up and be like them, these glorious beings. And if I allowed myself to get on drugs, then I would just be like them and just be in the world a glorious soul being slumped over as a drug addict, right? And that's why I never did drugs, right? Because I never wanted, even when I think about like smoking weed, like I be thinking that weed is a gateway drug. Right? Listen, what they meant for our bad, what they meant for evil actually worked for our good, because that quote war on drugs, which in some, you know, the black community said it was a war on black people, the way that it affected black women, and I did not identify myself as a fucking ape ever, but I did identify with the women. So what they meant for our bad, you know, what they meant for evil and like demonizing these women actually worked for my good, because I ended up never doing drugs. Like, hell no. Fuck no. I'm not, no. Y'all will never catch me sucking no dick in no alley for no fucking drugs. Like, I meant that shit from a little thing, okay? All the way until now, like till this day. And I know that people that offer me drugs, like offer me weed or offer me edibles, is just trying to like take the edge off of me. Like, Preem, just go ahead and take this edible and relax, so you're not always in your mind, right? And I know that that's the thought behind it. But y'all, I be thinking I'm gonna go right from taking an edible to like snorting coke, to like smoking crack and shooting dope. Like, I really do. So I don't do that. That is why I don't. That's why I don't do drugs. But anyhow, I wanted to bring that up so that we are clear on the fact that if you are a black woman like me, who don't do drugs, and I mean, to be honest, my experience in my life is a rarity, who is not clinically diagnosed with any, you know, illnesses, and able to have, you know, prescription drugs, like, you know, take the edge off of your existence, then you're constantly in the here and now. And that is a hard place to be. To always be in the present is a hard place to be. To not be able to escape your thoughts, to not be able to escape your trauma, to not be able to escape is a hard place to be, especially as a black woman when your trauma is so heavy. It's so heavy. And the burdens of this realm, you know, you talking about past traumas that you have to live with, and then the current situation that black women are living in, and we see no way out. Like literally, like in this moment as I'm making these videos, like I'm like, what the fuck? like we're seeing no way out. Every way I turn is another ploy to destroy black women. Even I have come to the conclusion, and it takes a clear mind. It takes a completely clear mind, because when you have a clear mind, you are very connected to spirit. Your discernment is always on point. Always on point. If you know, and this is not to shame any black woman that's, you know, when I tell you about, I wish I could take drugs, y'all. I wish I could take drugs, right? But I'm not here in this realm, in this time to do drugs, right? I'm here to enjoy other luxuries in the physical realm, like brownies, cookies, cakes, pies, travel, whatever else, you know, whatever else in the physical realm, because we are humans and we are here to experience goddesses, you know, that y'all know that church song, you know, or is it like in the Bible? I don't know. But anyhow, we're here to experience the physical realm as goddess herself, to come down and experience the physical realm. Specifically, some of us are just here to like elevate the consciousness of the world, so you know, we all can live in our quote God body, right? But as I said, we're here to experience some of the joys and the pleasures of being human. So it's no shame in it. And I enjoy, you know, some of the joys and the pleasures of being human. But to be inebriated and to be not in your mind space as sometimes is something that I wish that I could enjoy, but it's something that I don't. And the reason why I think that I don't is because my discernment has to be tip-top shape. Tip-top shape. Like, I have to be on it. And even in this quote divestment, I just now apologize for the role I played in it. Like, in realizing what divestment is and really who is pulling the strings behind divestment. And it is, for the record, so that we know, like, you know, as I am doing this series, I'm channeling these women. And let me tell you one person that Billie Holiday was not afraid of. Nobody. Billie Holiday was not afraid of nobody, okay? And I think that I share that same spirit. Like, y'all, white males don't put no fucking fear in my heart. Like, and this is how Billie Holiday existed. Like, white males don't put no fucking fear in my heart. And I know that it's dirty, disgusting, low, vile creatures that are white males that is behind the divestment movement. Right? I know that that's what's happening. And it's why I wanted no parts in it. And it's also why I'm doing this series, because what is happening is you got these apes beating us down so fucking bad. So fucking bad that we don't know which fucking way to turn. And we turned to divestment, and it was organic at first, right? It was an organic thing. It was which is why I said, like, give it back to Kindle back when it was organic. You know what I'm saying? It was an organic thing. It was an organic, you know, quote, movement. It was an organic place in which black women resided. And like most things that is organic for black women, in comes someone else trying to steer where it goes. And in this case, who is steering where it goes, in case we did not know, it's dirty white males, you know, who have the same Y chromosome as apes, who have the same hate for black women as apes, who don't want to see black women ascend, just like apes, right? And this is happening, And as I am, doing this series, I'm getting all in my body about it, right? And realizing, especially just how dirty, how dirty Billie Holiday was done. Like, and Billie Holiday, mind you, like, I'm gonna do a series. I'm gonna include in a series, black women that truly hated white people. You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, I'm gonna bring up Asada Shakur and the ladies of the Black Panther movement, and they really fucking hated white people, like for real, the real kind, like really hated white people. Was out here, in some cases being violent against, innocent whites. There are black women who truly hated white people, but Billie Holiday was not one of those people. Billie Holiday was supreme, was supreme in this realm, and she didn't operate in hate. She was a humanitarian, in which she thought that the indecencies done to the black collective was a problem for her, especially as she was able to move in and out of white and black spaces, and she was treated like a fucking nigger, right? So here she is, Billie Holiday, on the arms of white men and white women. At this case, Billie Holiday, I'm gonna get into her, but that was a wild woman, okay? Listen, that ain't nobody business. If I do, that was Billie, okay? She gonna do what the fuck she wanna do, right? So she's on the arms of white men and white women and still treated like a fucking nigger. Like, and this was a problem for her. This is something that she felt in her body. This is something, on top of everything else, that she was not able to escape. And as because of her being such a headstrong black woman, supreme in this realm, like she wasn't ready to back down. Like, she wasn't ready to back down. She was gonna sing what the fuck she wanted to sing. She was gonna do what the fuck she wanted to do. She was gonna fuck who the fuck she wanted to fuck. She was just a supreme woman in this realm that did it her way. And one of the things that is most hated in supreme black women, in case we didn't know, in case no one is understanding, in case you're in a place and you are a black woman and you're just like, why does everybody in this bitch hate me? Like, why does everybody, like, I can't find an ally no fucking where. One of the reasons why is because the thing that is most hated in black, Cronin black women is her freedom. Her freedom. That is something that they hate. They hate free black women. I mean, and when I say they, I mean all of them. Everybody. If you name a person outside of free black women, outside of a free black women, and I mean like this small group of Cronin black women, like outside of us, everybody outside of us hates it. That includes other black women. That includes the apes. That includes dirty, low vibrating white snow apes. That includes white women. That includes them dirty ass Indians from India. Like, god damn it. That includes the Asians. Like, that includes everybody. The world hates to see a free black woman. It eats them up. And Billie Holiday forced the world to see, and I mean the world, to see a free black woman who did it her way and didn't give a fuck about nobody else. Okay? And didn't give a fuck about how nobody felt about it. She was a free black woman and she did it her way. And before I get into her story, I wanted to pay her some, offer her some glory in that, and I also wanted to offer her some glory in her drug use, by saying that although I don't do drugs, although I'm not an advocate for drugs, like I don't want black women smoking crack, doing dope, popping pills. What I will say is, a black woman who has lived some life, is I understand how a black woman gets on drugs. Um, and I understand how a black woman of Billie's stature gets on drugs. I understand her need and her want and her desire to escape. And that's one of the things that sets me apart, is that I am able to see black women as whole. I'm able to see the divinity in all black women. If there's divinity in a black woman, I can see it, right? And then Billie Holiday, I can see, even though she was, even though she was a dope fiend, and Billie was heavy, was heavy on the dope. She didn't play about it, okay? And there was times in her life where she wanted to get off, and there was times in her life where she was off. She was off drugs, and then there was times in her life where she, couldn't function without it. And when you know her entire life of horror, from like the age of like 10, I think the first time that she was R-worded was like 10 years old. That was the first of many times that she was R-worded in her life. At some point in her life, she was like a madam. So that's destruction of other black women, right? Because then you end up having your own girls that you putting on a fucking hostro. So that is truly the harms that you can commit against other black women is really hard to deal with if you're a fucking supreme black woman. The horrors from the apes, and dating black males, and especially black males of that time, and being in spaces and treated and respected as, a male, because it's treated and being respected as a male because she was a free fucking woman and you wasn't gonna play with her, right? And they hated her for it, so these apes hated her for it, and tried to destroy her at every chance, And then at this time, Billie Holiday did what she wanted to do as far as, sleeping around, right? She slept with white women, she slept with white men. But at this time, you're kind of forced into relationships with apes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're forced into being with them. So it's not like, she had the option to, to not be around them, especially in the work that she did, right? And the exposing that she did of the crimes against, at this time, it's the black collective by this country, So of course, to her, regardless of who she slept with, like the white male collective was not a safe space for her. Although there were, as I studied her, there were 2 white men who really loved Billie. And one of those was old Blue Eyes himself, okay, Frank Sinatra. And I'm going to tag his song that was a dedication to her. When I first heard this song, I just wept. I mean, it makes me feel, because I see black women as whole. I'm seeing black women as they are. But it does bring up some emotion in me when other people outside of black women see all of black women. And when he sings this song, you can see that he saw all of her, right? Saw all of her. And then also she had a music, maybe it was a music producer or executive who, he ended up working with the FBI and trying to take her down, but he thought that was the only way to save her from her drug use, which didn't. And unfortunately, the FBI was no fan at this time. Was it the FBI? Was the Federal Narcotics, whatever the fuck it was. It wasn't the FBI, but it was the Federal Narcotics something. Who followed Billie. Just a regular singer. Like, it's one thing for the feds to be, chasing down Martin Luther King. For one, they was paying his ass, so they gotta make sure they money doing what it's supposed to fucking do, right? And there's another thing for the feds to be chasing down Malcolm X, and for the feds to be chasing down these males who were, quote, leaders of the civil rights movement. But when you're just chasing down a regular black woman that sing a song, bitch, you gotta speak to the power in that woman. Billie Holiday just standing there singing a song, and it scared It scared the shit out of a racist white America. Like, it scared the shit out of them. So anyhow, I wanted to give all of those disclaimers. I wanted to speak of Billie in all the ways that she is. I wanted to speak to her drug addiction. I wanted to, I wanted to humanize her, right? For one, it's women here who listen to the things that I have gone through, and they say, Preem, I don't know how you made it. Right? I don't know how you made it. Right? And when you listen to Billie, who in some cases you think like she didn't make it, and you realize that drugs was one of the ways that she survived. Was one of the ways that she survived her existence. And I don't know if I can fault her for it. I don't know if I can fault Billie for becoming a junkie. Just like I don't know if I can fault any black woman at the time when I was a little girl, when I used to see them sucking dicks in alleys. I don't know if I can fault any of those black women for how they, I can't fault those women any more than if you a black woman listening to me, then I can fault you for, eating fucking weed brownies, right? I can't fault for black women to cope in this realm. And not that I'm an advocate for drugs, I don't do drugs, but however a black woman decides to cope in this realm, me personally, I'm gonna excuse it. God damn it. It's hard. It's tough out here. It's hard for black women to cope. It's hard for black women to damn, I'm bringing us back down. I tried to to talk and, you know what? Let me listen. Okay. I tried to gas us up to be able to hear this Billie Holiday story and talk about how supreme we are. And now I'm saying that, it's hard to cope in this realm as a black woman not on drugs. And, y'all, let me get into I hope that y'all got what y'all needed. I hope that y'all got what y'all needed before I got into Billie Holiday. Because I don't want to bring us down. I don't want us to feel like it's no way out. I've said that, I've said several times the only way out of this is like, true and real sisterhood. Like that's only all we got. Like that's our ace in a hole. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that we have to work on. And Mad just now did a video, she hasn't been here for a very long time, and she called it. She was like, black women, basically, we did not do right by each other, and it speaks to our only way out of this. Like, I know, drugs is easy, you know what I'm saying? Drugs is easy, sex is easy, all the ways in which we try to self-soothe, but really, black women have to figure out, first of all, how we love ourselves, and then how we share that love with black women who are like us, who are supreme. Like, I don't want black women trying to, share, love with the fucking dirty ass mother of guns. But I do think that for those of us that are mothers of daughters, like, we have to really learn how to love ourselves and then share that love with black women. Because all throughout my study of Billie Holiday, I didn't see us there often. I didn't see us there often. I didn't see black women there for her often. I saw her literally as a woman alone, and she was surrounded by males who wanted to use her. Males who hated her, because apes hate black women. This was no different back in the 1930s. So she's trying to love males who literally hated her. And then all right, let's get into Billie. All right, y'all, we doing Billie Holiday, and as y'all can see, like every lady that I have been using for this series, I fell in love. And I fell in love. I fell in love with Billie Holiday. And Billie Holiday is actually a staple in Baltimore. She was born in Philadelphia, but she ends up coming to Baltimore as a young child, or she may have been born in Baltimore. I don't really know. But I used to live across from the Royal Theater in Baltimore, and the Royal Theater is like a park, like a wide open space now. But Billie Holiday used to perform there, and there is a statue. It was right on my corner of Billie Holiday. And then when I was like 17 years old, we did like a Secret Santa and school. And the girl that chose my name, she asked me like, "What you want?" And I wanted a Billie Holiday album. So Billie is kind of dear to me, and just how Billie sings is just beautiful to me, right? And I'm not really that big of a jazz lover. I'm not really that big of a jazz lover, but I do love Billie Holiday. Her voice is just amazing to me. Not only her voice and how it sounds, but just how I could always hear the sorrow. Y'all, my cat. Y'all know these fucking cats out of control. He was just now up in the window and she has knocked my damn tarot cards over. But anyhow, Billie Holiday has been dear to me for some time. And I always knew how Billie Holiday died, and I hated it. I felt like it was fucked up, and I felt like it was wrong for any black woman to die like that. But in studying her life now and seeing, how Billie became who she was is just, heart-wrenching. So y'all want to hear the story? Here's how it went, okay? So Billie Holiday, at about age, she was an orphan at some, well, not an orphan. Her mother didn't die. Her mother just left. Her mother left allegedly to go and work on the railroads, and she just left Billie. So Billie ends up in foster care, living with different people, traveling to different people's houses, and all throughout this childhood, because, as we all know, as Miss Sophia said, a girl child ain't safe in a family full of men. Well, a black woman ain't safe in the black stand, and as a result of this upbringing, Billie was violated as a young girl. It began at 10, and she shares that in her book that she was awarded. But then, several other times in her life, she was just, violated. At about the age of 15, 16, she leaves Baltimore because she realizes that she could sing. And she goes to New York, and she begins to play in the and at the jazz the jazz places that black people played in at this time. And if you listen to a Billie Holiday song, you can really hear how different she sounds in comparison to other women jazz artists at the time. And that distinct voice that she has talked about it so many times, and she said if she was going to sing like everybody else, it wasn't no use in her singing. If she was going to sound like everybody else, if she was going to be like everybody else, it was no use in her singing. So she begins this career 16, 17 years old. And at this time, she's only, in her teens. She's only smoking weed, getting high before she goes on and do her, sings, right? And in this time, she begins to date apes. And as usual, apes are just destroying women. They are not kind males to date, right? And at this time, they're very abusive. And they will whip her ass. And because at this time, we have to consider the times, and it's the 1930s. I think she died 1950. Okay, so she died in 1959. So this is the 30s, not quite the 40s yet, because the 40s is when she get famous, okay? The 40s is when the world knew who the fuck Billie Holiday was, and I mean the world, Craig. But anyhow, so in the 1930s, the late 1930s, she starts to, get into these relationships with males where they will just fuck her up. But because of the time, right, it's not the time that we live in now where, some decent white males have started to do some fucking work around here, but they fucking lazy too. But so at the time she couldn't call the police and report that she was getting her ass up, so she used to take these beatings and she used to fight back. But they was apes, and apes are stronger than women. Like, that's physically stronger than women. That's their one claim to fame, is I kill you. Like, so she's getting her ass whipped, and she's going through these motions with dating black males, but she's still a very young woman. She's going through these motions with apes, and she's writing songs about these. You listen to some of Billie Holiday. You listen to some of Billie Holiday songs, and you be like, "That was a crazy ass woman." You will be like, that woman was crazy as hell. Where she talks about, if she, basically, if she get her ass whipped, she ain't calling no cops on them, because can't call the cops on them. You can't call the cops on that Negro man. So she's getting her ass whipped. And she's writing, beautiful songs about it. And then in like the 1940s, which is the song that ends up going, I want to say going viral, but the song that ends up like spreading across the world is the song called Strange Fruit. So the song was actually written by a white, the song was written by a white Jewish male, okay? And it was actually a poem. And at this time, is this like during the time of the Harlem Renaissance? I remember learning about that in high school, and I think that's what's happening. Like, the Harlem Renaissance is going on. Okay, so yes, this is about Harlem Renaissance era, because it was initially a poem. And so this white male writes this poem that ends up being the song Strange Fruits, and Billie Holiday sang that song. So at this time, Billie Holiday is a woman who knows that she is a woman. Billie Holiday was not one of them, right? She was, a woman who knew that she was a woman, and she understood that some of her womanly wiles could get her into spaces that the apes couldn't get into. I think, as a matter of fact, early on, she was actually, this is the trigger, okay? So Billie Holiday is actually in a group with white males, and so anyhow, so it's a band, and it's a white band, and it's Billie Holiday singing on this band, and so she's the singer because she's supreme in this realm, and so she's the singer, and his name is Artie Shaw, and he has a band, and it's going all around, the country, and it's doing great, and Billie Holiday is the singer. And then he gets to, I forgot what state it was, but he gets somewhere, and this is where he's like really going up the musical ladder. And what they tell him is that he can come, but that nigga girl cannot come, right? Like, basically, like, you about to make it, but you gotta leave that nigga where she is. And Billie Holiday, because she's one of us, she's prideful, right? And before he could even fire her, Billie Holiday just, leaves. She's like, fuck y'all, I'm out of here. Because I know when this white male has a choice between fame and fortune or, being honorable and sticking up for a black woman, he's going to choose, fame and fortune. So she was just like, she's out. And she ends up going on her own. That's how Billie Holiday ends up on her own and ends up playing with Count Basie, because she initially realizes as a woman that she can get into spaces that apes can't get into, because she is a woman. And she gets into those spaces, enjoys those spaces up into the moment where racism sets in. And this is the intersection that black women exist in, right? You get to live in your prowess as a woman, but you still, at this time, you're still facing racism. Open racism, and not like this racism that's happening with divestment, right? Because that's not open racism. That's just really the suppression of black women's elevation, right? So that we're clear. Like that's the suppression of black women's elevation. It's not like your typical it's not like your typical racism. You know, regular racism was cool. What's happening now? What's happening now is black women are deciding to be a woman alone, and now we're being pushed into the beds of lazy white males. Is something all the way different. Damn it, and we're gonna talk about that. But this is this is just regular racism at this point. You know, white males hadn't really, you know, they evolved, so they're not really thinking like how they thinking now. And it's like, oh, the divinity in black people is in black women. All this time we've been pushing our women on these apes, thinking that somehow we could grasp the divinity that's in black people by, you know, mixing our, you know, low women with the black males, so they can, you know, tap into that divinity that black people live in. And then these white niggas was like, wow, this is worthless. They're like, wow, all these low vibrating women and apes are creating is the worst of children in the Americas. That's what they realize. And right now, today as we speak, in case we didn't know what's happening, white males, listen, this is a world ran by white males. Anything that's happening here, they're letting it happen. In case you thought for a minute that white males were not conscious about the mixing of these fat Beckys with apes, in case you think they did not know what the fuck was going on, in case you thought that they didn't give the green light for this to happen, you're completely confused. They gave the green light for it to happen, thinking that the divinity in being black is in niggas, only to find out, oh shit, because we are patriarchal idiots, we never considered the fact that the divinity in being black is in the women, not the apes. What the fuck? Yeah, these white boys are fucking idiots. So anyhow, they thought that the divinity in being black was in the apes, and boy was they wrong. Y'all, I'm laughing like Billie right now, because she used to love to see the white man lose. No, I'm channeling Billie right now. She loved to see them white boys catch an L, bitch. You thought. So now we got this whole country full of babies by apes and fat Beckys that are just like completely worthless. Like, I can't figure out who making worse duds. Is it black women creating little ape babies, or is it Becky and the ape creating their babies? Like, who is making the worst dud in this country? White males, y'all need to figure that out, because that's a mess y'all got on your hands. That's a mess y'all got on your hands. Y'all really let these fucking apes fuck your daughters and create the worst children in the country. The worst children in the country is mixed children by Becky. Okay? And your ass thought that she was about to create something that was grand, and all you got was a fucking bunch of fucking dumbass basketball players. Bitch. I'm happy. The part of me in which Billie Holiday lives, we're cackling, okay? We're cackling at this fucking mess you got on your hands. And now you think, oh, because you finally figured it out that you fucked up. Now you think, oh, the divinity is in the women. Let us take control of this divestment movement so that we can, you know, harbor that divinity and finally get it out of black women. Nah, bitch. I'm not having it. Oh, gosh, y'all, I'm cracking myself up. No, bitch, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. I'm ringing the fucking bell on divestment like nobody business. Black women do not go over there with those fucking low-rung, dirty-ass white boys that they trying to sick on y'all. Let Candace Owens be your standard, okay? Okay, black women, you are supreme in this round. If you gonna go over here and you gonna be marrying white males, marry the best of them, okay? Do not be going over here with these fucking low tier, low breads. That's the same thing they did to apes. So that we clear. It's the exact same thing that they did to apes. They set the beauty standard for fat ass Becky's, and these niggas went over and they created the worst children in the country with white women. I mean, baby, it's everywhere. No sense of identity. Like, just said, they all are pan motherfuckers in this realm. All these bitches that's around here saying that they pansexual, they are the children of white women and black men, okay? They have no sexes, they have no genders. It's a fucking shit show that white males have created. And let me tell you something. Billie Holiday is cracking the fuck up in her grave. Alright, I forgot where I was even at, but I think I was on saying that Billie Holiday was not racist? Like, she wasn't, she knew a bottom shelf bread when she saw one, but she wasn't a racist woman. Like, she did not hate white people. Hold up, because where was I even at? What was I even saying before I went off on that tangent? Okay, I was on Artie Shaw being a bitch. So, yeah, Billie Holiday, because she's a prideful black woman, she knew that he was a bitch, and he wasn't going to say, oh, well, if Billie Holiday can't come in here and perform, then neither the fuck are we, right? So she knew that he was a bitch, and she left. She was like, I'm going. Like, y'all bitches not going to play with me. Y'all dirty white people not going to play with me like this, right? So she left, and she ended up going back into the fold of the Blackistan music. Blackistan music. But the writer for the song that put a fucking target on our dear Billie's back, because it's one thing in the 1930s and 1940s to have to, maneuver and survive Blackistan, and she didn't. She couldn't maneuver and survive Blackistan, which is why she ended up on dope, right? She couldn't survive. Her brain, her body could not survive the abuse that Blackistan inflicts on her. So she ends up, on drugs. And as a black woman who barely survived Blackistan, barely survived Blackistan, still at this moment trying to rationalize all of the harms that was done to me in the black community, and I'm doing it without dope, right? And I'm doing it without weed. My fucking therapist won't even, when I tell my therapist that listen, nigga, and he's not a black male, I'm depressed, I need some fucking antidepressants, and he's like, no, this is not depression, this is your realizing the trauma, and it's all coming down on you, and you feel like it's depression, but it's not depression. Depression is a hormonal imbalance in the brain that you're not suffering from. Okay? And when I tell this nigga, listen, I got anxiety, nigga, give me some fucking anxiety medicine. He like, no, it's not that either, right? So, as a black woman who is trying to maneuver the harms that Blackistan has, inflicted on me without dope, okay, without weed, I can understand how Billie Holiday, at that time, and still living in it and not being able to get out of it, because when she tried to get out of it, you got, dirty fucking snow apes. That's fucking cowards. Right? And she ends up being sent right back into Blackistan, and she can't survive it. She ends up on dope real heavy. Billie Holiday, as a Muslim say, peace and blessings be upon her. Beautiful, beautiful soul. She was a dope fiend. Bad. Real bad. So she gets this song, okay, and let's get a good view of the times that we living in. She gets this song, and at this time, black people still being lynched. Like, it's a really, really racist America at this time that she's living in. And she is feeling the effects of it, because I said she's a woman who understands that she's a woman. She's moving the world as a woman. And every time she tries to move the world as just a woman, I'm just a woman in a patriarchal society trying to survive, they remind her, you're a nigger girl. You're a girl, but you're a nigger girl, and you need to, behave like the niggers do. And she's constantly faced with this, because she's going in and out of Blackistan and into, the white society places. because she's able to sing there, but she got to go in through the kitchen and, just being treated subhuman every fucking day of her life. Every day. Wow, that fucks me up. Every day she rolls over and wakes up like she's being treated subhuman when she is the standard at which humans exist. Like, this is crazy. Which is why I can't let go of the fact that Billie is a dope fiend. This should be normal at this point. Like, so the fuck what? So the fuck what? She literally wakes up in a world every single day being treated as subhuman, as the fucking first human being on earth. The most kindest and the most gentlest and the most loving human being on earth. And these bitches are treating her less than human. And she has to live with it every single day. It was some documents where they were saying that Billie would go out to eat with her white friends, and those friends would make a big fuss, and they would let her eat, right, in the whites only establishment. And she would always order extra food because she didn't know when the next time she would go out and she wouldn't be allowed into the restaurant. Like, what the fuck is this? Oh my goodness, what you bitches have done to our mothers. Like, I'm not letting it go. Like, as we move on, I see what's trying to be happened and what's trying to be a thing in fucking divestment. Like, when I realized, like, oh my gosh, what the fuck is happening here? Like, listen, what you bitches did to our mothers, we cannot let this shit go. Bitch, when I tell you everybody lives underneath of this curse, bitch, everybody. No one is exempt. No one is exempt for the wrongs and the fouls that was done against our mothers. No one is exempt. Billie Holiday got knocked on her ass at 10 years old by apes violating her. Then she goes into the larger society and they are treating her less than human. Like, what the fuck I'm getting upset. What the fuck do these people think this is? Like, bitch, you're gonna pay. Like, at some point, you just want to move on and you just want to be a black woman that's just, let bygones be bygones. No, bitch, I don't feel that way no more. Ain't no bygones be bygones. You bitches are going to pay. And I mean every fucking body. But, let me go on. So, Billie Holiday is going in and out of two lives. Like, she's going into the higher society with white people and experiencing her life and sleeping around, being a woman, doing what she want to do, sleeping around with the white boys and the white girls, and she over here, some days with the apes and the black women, having a good time with them, and all this time she's getting high, and then out comes this song, Strange Truth. And I'm gonna leave a link below of the song Strange Fruit in the song Lady Day that Frank Sinatra wrote for her. And I'll get into her and Frank Sinatra in a minute. But anyhow, she sings this song Strange Fruit. And the world is just stopped. like the world is just stopped. In the moment. They cannot believe that Billie Holiday, this black woman alone, right, is singing this song, because it's, for one, at this time, there is Ella Fitzgerald. There are black women who are, at this time, more, thought to be bigger singers than she is, right? And then it's a whole bunch of niggas. The fact that Billie Holiday had to sing this song, and Nair nigga had the Nair ape of the time had the nerve, the guts, the audacity to sing this fucking song, and they allowed her to sing this song for the black collective and get a bullseye on her back from the federal government. It just speaks again to the cowardice of these fucking apes. That is just disgusting. Because at that time, if you're going to have Billie Holiday, and now you're going to have it because she chose it, right? Billie Holiday, she a free woman. She do what the fuck she want to do. But if this woman is going to be the representation of the black struggle, it should have been a fence around her fucking 5 miles thick. There should have been a fence around her 5 miles thick. Like, it should have been niggas that was like, listen, in order to get to Billie Holiday, you got to kill every single one of us. In order for anybody to get to Billie Holiday, you got to kill every single one of us. Right? And this is not who these niggas are. This is why they are such a fucking disappointment. I cannot believe that black women are still creating them. Like, I'm for real. Like, I'm not even on no bullshit right now. I'm really, like, when I wake up in my bed and roll over and I know that like 5,000 black males have been born, like, I cannot believe that y'all still doing this. It's fucking mind-boggling to me. And I will get into why it's so mind-boggling and why it's selfish. Like, black women, what do you think that you are doing birthing a male into this realm who has to be underneath of the feet of all the rest of the men any fucking way? Like, why would you... Don't let me love your thuns more than you love your thuns. As a black woman who has a daughter, and for the most part, don't give a fuck about your thuns, don't let me love your thuns more than... It's cruel. It is cruel at this day and this age in our existence where black males are so far behind. And listen, I was in a clubhouse room, an open fucking racist, and racism don't really bother me like that. Like, racism don't bother me like that. What's bothering me right now for white males is how white males trying to get the divinity that's in being black out of us. That is bothering me. That is bothering me. How y'all trying to water down what a black woman is. And that's fucking bothering me. How you're trying to get the divinity in black women into white skin, bitch. That is bothersome to me at this moment in my life, right? While not respecting black women. While not respecting black women, you think that you're going to be able to come over here into black woman territory, bitch, and have us create more children to hate us? Are y'all fucking dumb? Didn't we create enough fucking apes already? What the fuck more y'all want? Bitch. But anyhow, as I was saying, racism of today don't really affect me. So I'm in a clubhouse room and the ape on the stage. You know, I'm just there listening right now. I don't get on clubhouse stages, but an ape is in the room and he says something about how he says to the white male, the openly racist white male, used the N-word and said they monkeys and whatever the fuck, right? And he says the ape says to the white male. He says, for however many years y'all been, basically trying to, harm black people. And this white male says, we don't even think about black people anymore. And we know that black people, like, really means black males, right? He's like, we don't even think about black males no more. Like, and our white supremacy, as we still try to reign supreme in this realm, black males don't even come into our mind space. You bitches are so far defeated that we don't give a fuck about even thinking about you at this point. And black women think that when we live in a world like that, where the world is saying that black males don't even count like that. Like, bitch, you have no standing that you should be birthing them. Are we okay? We gotta really think about that, because that's a cruel thing to do. Like, that is a cruel thing to do, to birth a baby into a realm like that. That's just fucked up. Like, for real. Like, I'm feeling bad for your sons. Like, for real, like, the goddess in me. The goddess in me, the supreme in me, who's able to see the world as it is, right? I feel like y'all cruel for birthing them. Like, for real. I feel like that's a cruel thing to do. Like, you shouldn't do it. Like, why would you do that? Let's just say that these little cute babies coming into this world innocent. Let's just say they innocent. Fuck it. I'm going to give y'all the benefit of the doubt. Y'all love your sons. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give y'all the benefit of the doubt. Okay, this little cute, little chubby face, little chocolate baby coming into this realm with his little handsome self. And you're birthing him into this realm to sit underneath of the feet of all the males, where males are outright saying, we don't even think about you apes. Like, other than to be literal fucking slaves and work in this realm because somebody gotta flip the fucking burgers around here, bitch, we don't even think about y'all. Like, it's cruel, black women, and we really need to discuss this. Like, we really need to have a conversation on why. Why the fuck are you doing it? But I'm off topic again. Let's get back into Billie Holiday and how she, you know, she sings the song everywhere. She sings this song. Billie Holiday sings this song. People getting up, walking out. You know, at this point, you know, she's coming in the back door into, you know, higher society mixed, you know, bars, you know, where, you know, the apes came in the back and, you know, the white people came in the front. And the white people literally getting up, like, leaving out. Like, fuck you, Billie. I really fucked with you up into this moment. And leaving out. Like, it would be federal agents just sitting there to, like, literally snatch her off of stage when she starts singing the song. She was being hunted down. And hunted is really a good word. That was a word I also... Y'all, we need to give Miss Archduchess more fucking flowers. But Billie Holiday is being hunted at this point. And she's being hunted down by... literally the head FBI agent, like, for real. And what he starts off doing, and this is see, I can't deal. I can't see. I'm at a loss of words because I can't really deal with the bitch assness of white males at this point either. Like, that's really disgusting me. So, you know, jazz at this point is drugs, alcohol, and good singing. That's all it is. You know, it's jazz, alcohol. I mean, it's drugs, alcohol, and good singing. Everybody getting high. You know what I'm saying? Everybody getting high. Everybody shooting dope. You know, everybody, you know, fucking everybody. And, you know, everybody getting drunk and singing. Like, that's what jazz is. So, at this point, he could really, like, he realizes, or he says that the problem of America is this, jazz. Like, this is the fucking jungle music these blacks are playing. You know, they all down there getting high. And he even goes on, at the time Judy Garland is getting high, he even goes on to help Judy Garland get off of drugs, right? So that she would not be associated with the dirty dope that the blacks are, you know, mixed up in. Like, literally, like, so this is how we know that this is racial. And how he's not seeing Billie Holiday as a woman, right? Because when he saw white dope fiend women on, you know, dope, he tried to clean them up. Like, he did not want them associated with the dirtiness and the grittiness and the griminess of the drug culture of the time. And he cared about them enough to clean them up. And this is something that black males never fucking did. Like, when black women got on drugs, oh, these apes are... Y'all here in the Baltimore, come out of me. But yeah, this is ridiculous. Like, here white males are, as they are right now with the opiate addiction, with all these fucking white women, you know, taking perks and fucking fentanyl and shit. And you see them try to clean them up. And at this time, this is literally what he did. His name is Anslinger. So y'all can look this bitch up. And when he would find white women on dope, like, he would literally work to get them off of drugs. Like, he would work to clean up their image. He wouldn't arrest them. Like, he would try to clean their image up. And here is Billie Holiday at the time, who is a dope fiend just like Judy Garland shit. You know, she a dope fiend just like all the rest of the fucking dope fiends. And she's a woman, and he doesn't feel the same way about her that he felt about them. He literally thinks that she's a dirty nigger, and he wants her ass in jail. He decides to make an example out of Billie. He leaves everybody else. He leaves all the apes alone because no one else had the guts, the galls, or the audacity to sing that fucking song. And when she was told several times not to sing it, Billie, being a free woman, she really could have just stopped singing the fucking song. Like, she really could have just said, fuck it, I'm not singing that motherfucking song. It's bringing me too much drama in my fucking life. Like, fuck these niggas. You know, let them keep on lynching y'all. I don't give a fuck. But, you know, we have to consider the times where black women were not seen at all times as women separate from apes, right? So at this time, black women are being lynched, right? And Billie just like, no, I'm not going to stop singing the song. Y'all bitches got me fucked up. I'm going to keep on singing this fucking song everywhere I go, ho. And she did. She was courageous. She was courageous. She was free. She did what the fuck she wanted to do. And she did not care what it meant. And she was a fucking dope fiend. She knew that they were waging a fucking war on drugs. She knew that they was waging a war on drugs. And she was like, so the fuck what? I'ma do dope and I'ma sing this song. What's up? And that was what she did. She continued to sing the song. She was arrested. She went to jail for a year and a day. Like, this really happened. Billie Holiday was imprisoned for a year and a day. They found, dope on her. And instead of sending her to a treatment center, right? Instead of sending her to a treatment center like they was, doing the white girls, they sent her to fucking jail because, this is something that I had studied well, is how black women were criminalized for doing drugs, whereas white women were not. And this was also something that went on again. So this is going on in the 1930s and 1940s and 1950s, but it also went on again in the 1980s and 1990s, where black women who ended up on crack were criminalized for it. Like, they went to jail. There was no fucking treatment center for them. You are a fucking dirty junkie and you're going to fuck to jail. And I think that this is why this opiate is sweeping through. Like, it's the fastest karma I ever seen in my life. Like, this fucking opiate addiction is sweeping through white women like nobody fucking business because of that crime against black women. Like, black women really suffered in the 1980s and 90s, and the crack epidemic. It affected whole families. I remember thinking to myself, as my father was a fucking crackhead, and smoked crack, I remember being like 8 and 9 years old thinking to myself, because we had gone to school and got scared to death about drugs, I remember thinking that, like, literally, daddy's gonna get mommy on crack and then we're gonna really be fucked up. Like, this was a thought that was in my little 8 and 9 year old fucking brain. Like, anyhow, this is what drugs did to black women. This is what drugs do to black women. So that I'm not an advocate for drugs. Like, I really understand how it's heartbreaking, and how it is a destroyer of us. But what I do want to emphasize is that I don't know if Billie Holiday could survive as long as she survived not on drugs. Like, I don't know if Billie Holiday becomes the Billie Holiday that we know and that I love had she not been on drugs. Like, she would not have been able to function. Like, she wouldn't have been able to function. And you know that because she goes to jail for a year and a day and she complains. She clean. Like, she clean for a year and a day. And mind you, this is a holy place. And I know we can't really say this about jail, but listen. At this time, the jails are sectioned off by color. So the black women are all housed together by themselves. And, Billie is off drugs. She cleans herself up because she can't do drugs in jail. But she's also probably at this time, for the only time, surrounded by black women who probably gave a fuck about her because she is Billie Holiday. You know what I'm saying? If they not fucking hateful mother of thuns, then they probably loved her just like the rest of the world did. Right? Unless they were just hateful and jealous mother of thuns, she probably had a bunch of black women in this space who loved her and wanted her to do well. And when she got out, she was off drugs for a good long time. Like, she was off drugs for a good long time, taking care of herself. And then, she even goes on to perform at the Carnegie Music Hall. At this time, it's not as big as it was, but it was a big fucking deal back then. And it was an audience of mixed people. It was, high-end people at this event that she went to, and she sang very good, and it was just like, Billie is back, you know what I'm saying? And she ends up, well, for one, she's betrayed by a Fed or somebody working for the Feds who was a ape. These niggas got no fucking loyalty, goddamn, because you would think, like, let's just say that this black male who worked for the Feds was a good guy, because he said at the end he said that he suffered with his decisions to betray her his whole life. Yeah, sure, bitch. But anyway, you would think the protective nature of males, or the rest of the males, are protective of, have a protective nature when it comes to their women. But black males, like, these apes are just fucking useless. God damn. You would think that if he really loved her, right, he would have, like, fought tooth and nail, since he's around her any fucking way, for her to get off drugs. Like, no one's bringing no fucking dope in here for Billie. Like, simple as that. No one's bringing no dope in here for Billie. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, anybody that bring dope in here for Billie gotta fight me to get it to her. She's not getting no dope, right? But that wasn't what he did, because black males do not really love black women like that. They don't really get, mind you, Anslinger, right? Anslinger did not even know white women that he was getting off drugs. Like, he didn't even know these bitches. He just knew that it was a bad look for white women to be strung out on drugs that they put in, that they put in for fucking black people. Like, what the fuck are you doing on the drugs? Like, how the fuck did you get the dope? We don't fucking know, but I tell you what, you're gonna get off of it. It's how he carried it with white women that he did not even know, that he was not even responsible for. If you know, Ape's number one line of, you know, if it's not my wife, if it's not my sister, I'm not doing nothing to protect her. But white males know better. White males know that I have to protect the image of white women regardless of who she is. These apes are not operating in the ways that males are supposed to operate in a fucking patriarchy. So, with that being said, Billie Holiday ends up back on drugs, and this cop at this time, well, he's not a cop, but he's an informant for the cops, is just following her around. She knows that he is a informant. She, you know, technically, they say that they fall in love or they have some kind of close relationship, whatever the case may be. Finally, she gets him out of her life, and she marries another ape, and this is the final ape. Like, she married like 2 or 3 apes at this point. Billie was a little hard-headed. Like, we gonna do, all right, I'm gonna excuse the drug use, Billie. You know, our dear mother, Billie. But just keep on fucking with these apes. Like, I'm not going to excuse this. Because you, at some point, you should have knew better. But here you go, Billie, about her third marriage with an ape. And this ape is in it for the money. This ape is chasing down white women and in it for the money. He realizes that what he realizes with these fucking dirty ass white boys who picked up divestment instead of where they wanted to go, that he realized that she's a vulnerable woman, right? A woman alone in a patriarchal society is a very, very, very vulnerable woman. So he realizes that she's a vulnerable woman. She's just a fucking dope fiend who sings really fucking well, but she's throwing away her whole fucking life, right? At this point, that's how Billie is appearing. So he ends up marrying her. He ends up taking all her money, you know, fucking her up, beating her up. Like, she would come out on stage with black guys, just fucked up. I mean, like, he would beat her so bad, like, break her ribs and shit, and she would still perform. Like, Billie was getting her ass beat by this fucking ape, and I think that his name, she was betrayed a couple times by apes, because there was one named Levy that I think she married this nigga too, and he put drugs on her, like literally put drugs on her when the police came in. Like, these niggas are bitches. But that was him. And I think the last one that she was married to, this is the one who ends up, when she dies, he ends up having her fortune. Let me see what his name is. I'm typing it up as we speak. Louis McKay, this bitch. This bitch, you know, he's in it for the money. He realizes that she's a very vulnerable woman, and that is who she is married to until she dies. But I do want to throw in there her relationship. Like, she had some prominent relationships with some prominent white people. One of those being Frank Sinatra. And she taught him something. I can't remember what it was now, but something musically she taught him how to do. And he always wanted to pay homage to her by saying that, you know, it was Billie Holiday who taught me this. Like, and he did. Like, whatever it was that I don't know, maybe it was some kind of singing, that like some kind of variation of moving his voice a certain way that Billie taught him how to do. And he would always pay homage to her. And he was a dear friend of hers. And it, you know, some people, you know, he had ties, you know, to the mob, and we know that the mob was instrumental in making sure that, you know, niggas at this time is what they called, you know, had dope. And it was rumors that he was, you know, he would ensure that she had dope. But let me say this. based on a song that he wrote to her, I think that he really loved her. And in case you don't know how dope works, let me help you understand. Let me help you understand. So crack is in your mind, right? When you smoke crack, I did a lot of study of drugs, crack is in your mind. Your body doesn't really need crack. Like, you feel like you need crack when you're not on crack, but you really don't need it. Like, you could really stop smoking crack cold turkey, and nothing's going to happen to you physically. It's all in your mind. Dope, on the other hand, if you shoot dope, if you stop shooting dope, like, your body has a reaction to it. Like, you really get physically ill when you don't get dope. And that's the same thing for, like, any kind of opiate. So that's, dope is heroin, in case you did not know. Here's an education on drugs from a Baltimorean. So dope is heroin, but it's an opiate, and it also acts like pills. And when we say pills, we're talking about Percocets, and now they doing fentanyl. They doing big drugs now. But those drugs all operate the same. Your body gains a dependency on them. And when you're not on them, you're like physically ill. And if you ever seen somebody, which I don't know if y'all have, if you ever seen somebody like that's on perks and they don't get their perks, like, they be throwing up, like, they be really fucked up. So, it was a rumor that, when she was really fucked up like that, like, she would call Frank Sinatra and he would, try to bring her drugs so that she wouldn't be fucking ill. But, I think that even Frank Sinatra was one of the couple of the last people that visited her when she was on her deathbed, because Billie Holiday ends up getting really sick. And she goes to the hospital, and this bitch Anslinger comes to the hospital, and several people visit her hospital, including McKay, dirty ass, and Frank Sinatra. And I hope that, I really hope that in the moments that Frank Sinatra really expressed how much he loved her, and anybody that loved her, like, expressed, like, really how much they loved her, because she was dying. Yeah, she was dying at the time. And it was said after she died that Frank Sinatra locked himself inside of a room for 3 days and just, cried over her death. Like, he really loved her. And what happens is, it's unknown if it was actual drugs on Billie Holiday at the time that she went to the hospital, like she went in there with drugs, or if someone bought her drugs, or if she was framed with the drugs. But this nigga Anslinger, and I'm calling a nigga at this point, but this was the white, the white FBI agent that had a hard on for Billie Holiday. But he comes and he arrests her on her deathbed and handcuffs her to the fucking bed as she's fucking dying, because he finds drugs in her room. And Billie Holiday literally ends up dying handcuffed to a handcuffed to a bed. That's how Billie Holiday, our dear mother, goes out. Like, she dies in that way. And that's very, very sad. And her, I remembered her last words being, what she said was, "Don't be in such a hurry." And yeah, that's the story of Billie Holiday and what they did to our mother. And when I say they, I mean everybody. Everybody, everybody, had a hand in Billie. Suppression, Billie being fucked up from even childhood, right? We could even put some blame on her fucking mother, because why would her mother leave her? And me, fucked up mothering, y'all, I don't give nobody no free pass on that. Like, I'ma show some grace to most situations, but being a 14-year-old mom and having to mother and mothering well. Now, I'm not saying that, black women who are mothers have to mother as well as I did, right? But flat out abandonment of a girl child, I don't know, y'all. I don't really know. I don't really know, because, I mean, if anybody gets an excuse to, toss a baby in a fucking dumpster, it was me. Okay? I'm raising my hand on that. Put me to the front of the line. When we talk about just throwing babies in a dumpster and fuck them, listen, put me in the front of the line. Because having a baby at such a young age, you know, and raising her, and losing a lot of myself in raising her. Let me admit that. Like, losing a lot of myself in raising her. I don't find much room to excuse black women who don't mother their daughters. Like, I don't, and it's because I did it, right? It's because I did it. Like, I couldn't find no room for my fucking self to not be a good mother to my daughter. Even to this day, you know, even to this day, sometimes I be wanting putting the figure shit out on her fucking own. Like, for real, girl. Like, you a big girl now. Figure some shit out on your fucking own. And I can't. Like, when she need me, I'm there. And I'm throwing everything to the side. And no matter what I'm doing, I'm throwing everything to the side to make sure she right. So, I don't know how I can excuse the piss poor mothering and the abandonment that Billie Holiday mother. And it was only them. It was only Billie Holiday and her mother. You know? It was some stories that said that her mother was a whore. And I mean, I could probably even been a whore and still mothered. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could have probably been a whore and still mothered right. You know what I'm saying? She could have been a whore and still took care of Billie in the right way. But she didn't. So even there, like, Billie just, you know, technically didn't have a chance. You know, like, she really didn't have a chance, and then she ends up being this grand. And this is what I mean when I say, like, who would we be without the trauma? Like, if Billie Holiday ends up being this grand, even through all that trauma, right? Then, like, how grand could she have been without it? We gotta find out. I remember I was on Clubhouse. Y'all, these bitches on Clubhouse was retarded. like these mother dumb bitches and these AI bitches on Clubhouse, they was really retarded, because I remember being in a room where they talked about adopting a black boy and raising him up as a, like, tribe of women to see if they could get a better son. And my immediate thought was, why the fuck wouldn't y'all do that with daughters? Like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Like, why do y'all want to invest in these niggas so fucking bad? Like, what the fuck? Imagine me thinking to myself that niggas can turn out better, and as a result adopting a black boy and trying to raise him to be better. Then, listen, Mad did a video on that several years ago where this little ape, like, the woman adopted him and he killed her. Like, what the fuck we think? Listen, but I would like to know, how grand do black women become if there is no trauma? I think that's a brilliant idea for girls. Like, a tribe of women, you know, a tribe of women adopting black girls, like, you know, as soon as we can, before any trauma gets to them, before anything can get to them, and, like, building a fence of free, sovereign, Cronin black women around these babies. And let's see, you know, how grand black girls become black women without any trauma. Because, I mean, if you look at your own life and your own, you know, ways of surviving and how you survived it, and you survived it with all of these traumas, like, imagine how your life could have been without the trauma. You know? So anyhow, y'all, I got a movie date. I'm gonna save this video and post it. Y'all about to hear it tonight. It's Tuesday. I might go to the movies. I might try to make it later. I want to take a nap now. This stressed me out. But anyhow, ladies, love you, ladies. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Hope that you enjoyed all my ranting. I talked about some things that I do like to, you know, discuss in private. But I just, you know, the alarm should get out. You know, some of what I said midway through the video about, you know, what's going on in divestment, like, you know, for those who have ears, let you hear what I say. You know, like, let that resonate in your spirit and your soul, and let you understand what the fuck is going on. And yeah. that's all. Love you, ladies. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. I will be making another video, which I'll have to give lots of context to, because it will be about those ladies that was in the Black Panther movement. And, you know, some of them ladies was violent. You know what I'm saying? Some of them ladies was violent as fuck. And, honey, they met hate with hate. One thing about them, they was meeting hate with hate, but what they missed was them niggas hated them too. That's the part they missed. They missed them niggas that they were surrounded by, them niggas that was gassing them the fuck up. They hated their asses too. So yeah, that video will also be by the end of the week. And that's it. Love y'all.